You know how every holiday season has its own soundtrack, right? It's that warm, familiar, kind of crackly vinyl sound that it feels like home. It's pure nostalgia. But it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Can something totally new ever actually feel timeless? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. So just think about this for a second. What if you could discover like a whole lost archive of Christmas music? We're talking songs you've never ever heard before, but somehow they feel just as cozy and familiar as the ones you grew up with. That's the amazing idea we're unwrapping today. Okay, so to really get why this is so cool, we've got to start with a story. It's about this guy named Kofi, and Kofi absolutely loves Christmas. But, well, the holiday had started to feel a little heavy. See, for Kofi, and I think for a lot of us, Christmas meant a very specific playlist. You know the one. Bing Crosby, Ella Fitzgerald, Nat King Cole. These weren't just tunes, they were the foundation of every single Christmas memory he had. It was a tradition he got from his dad. But here's the tricky thing about tradition, right? Sometimes it can start to feel like a weight. For Kofi, that joy started to get mixed with this ache of repetition. The songs that were supposed to be all about comfort were actually starting to feel more like a reminder of people who weren't there anymore, instead of a celebration of who was. And this is where the whole story just flips. Kofi decides, you know what? He's going to try something new. He finds this mysterious album. It's called Cloned Christmas Classics, and he plays it for his family. And listen, this wasn't just like a few new songs. This album was massive. 77 brand new, completely original tracks. I mean, to put that in perspective, we're not talking about an EP here. This is a whole universe of new holiday music. All told, it's over 4 hours of music. Just think about that. That's enough to get you through an entire Christmas day without hearing the same song twice. The scale alone is just staggering. But the craziest part wasn't how much music there was. It was where it came from. Okay, get this. This is the incredible part. Every single one of these songs that sound like they're 70 years old was made with AI. The emotional hit was real, though. I mean, somebody on Reddit put it perfectly. A machine made me cry. Just let that sink in for a second. A song made by an algorithm could actually move someone to tears. So how is that even possible, right? How do you get an AI to create something with so much feeling? Well, it all comes down to this really amazing creative process. It was a genuine partnership between a human and a machine. And the thinking behind it is just fascinating. The goal wasn't to copy a specific Bing Crosby song. No, it was way bigger than that. It was about cloning his entire era. They wanted to recreate the emotional DNA of that whole golden age of music. You know, the warmth, the big orchestras, that feeling. And this table breaks down that partnership so well. You've got the human on one side, acting as the director, setting the vision, picking the best stuff, and fine-tuning the emotion. And then on the other side, you have the AI. Think of it like a brilliant musician who can play any style perfectly, just churning out original music, but only within the very specific boundaries the humans set for it. And believe me, those creative rules were super specific. They defined everything, from the old school song titles and the kinds of lyrics they used back in the 40s and 50s, to having male and female singers take turns and making sure the orchestra sounded huge and rich. They even added that authentic, fuzzy analog warmth so it really sounds like it came off an old record. So these 6 things were basically the building blocks. This was the musical DNA that the AI was taught to understand. Again, it wasn't about copying one single artist. It was about mastering the entire language of that era. Everything from the specific chords they loved to use to that gentle, warm hiss you get from old tape recordings. Which of course brings us right back to Kofi's living room. So the music's playing, the whole family is just completely captivated by it, and then Kofi drops the bomb. A machine helped make this. And that naturally leads to the big question. Kofi's son, 𝗧𝗪, asks the one question that I'm sure is on all of our minds right now. He says, so a machine wrote this, and that doesn't make it less real? Is it still authentic? Does it have a soul? But Kofi's answer doesn't come from some technical deep dive. Nope, he finds it just by looking at his family. One of the more upbeat songs comes on, and all of a sudden they're dancing, they're laughing, they're making a brand new, happy Christmas memory right then and there. And in that moment, it just clicks for Kofi. He gets it. It doesn't matter who or what made the music. What matters is what it does to us. the memories it sparks, the joy it brings into a room. That is what makes it real.
And this really personal moment, this revelation happening in one family's living room, it actually points to a much, much bigger idea about our relationship with the past and with our own traditions.
And that brings us to the story's big takeaway, which completely reframes how we think about nostalgia. It's not a prison that keeps us stuck in the past. It's a foundation. It doesn't have to be some dusty old museum. It can be the very thing we built something new and exciting on top of. So, at the end of the day, this cloned Christmas classics project is just an incredible proof of concept. It shows that AI, when it's guided by a real human vision, can create things of genuine beauty, things that really hit you emotionally. It proves that, yeah, you can actually create new classics, and that the traditions we hold so dear don't have to be frozen in time. They can actually grow. And really, that's the key here. The whole point isn't to replace Bing Crosby. It's not about getting rid of Nat King Cole. It's about adding to the collection. Think of these 77 new songs as companions, just new stories nestled right beside the old ones we already love.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating thought to chew on. I mean, if we can do this for Christmas music from the 50s, what's next? What other forgotten genres or lost cultural archives are just sitting out there, waiting for us to create them? The possibilities are, well, they're pretty much endless.